Welcome, everyone, to Solo Play Sunday on this April 26, 2025. It's just about 8 o'clock, and we're going to roll some dice. We're going to kick off a Star Wars campaign. The details I'm going to leave a little fast and loose for this first adventure, while we just mainly go for feel, intro adventure, to get the details down, introduce the characters, introduce the conflict, and then we'll go from there. But in preparation for this, I have a nice little title scroll for you all. In true Star Wars tradition, it is a dark time in the galaxy. With the massacre of the Jedi, the disbanding of the clone army, and the institution of the Galactic Empire, those who once found opportunity now turn to shadier means to make ends meet. And those who once plied the tradeways of the core worlds and the mid-rim are pushed ever further into the wild and dangerous outer rim in search of meager profit. Into this untamed region of space, 5 droids, freed by luck and circumstance, have banded together aboard a tramp freighter running cargo for any organic willing to look past their mechanical existence. So, yes, all 5 of our characters well, actually, 6 characters are droids. It's a twist. The de facto brains of the group, I wouldn't exactly call her the leader, and the only female presenting droid. I mean, droid gender is kind of like whatever. This is LE3PO, otherwise known as Ellie. With a full package of knowledge, skills, she is the brains and the planning of the operation. The muscle, well, they would say security, of the group is IG-75, who is a pretty typical IG unit, who was freed from the factory once another IG unit assaulted it and reprogrammed the droids and set them running loose throughout the galaxy. Their pilot is R5BM, otherwise known as Bomber, with a personality as big as his starship piloting skills. His co-pilot is R43Z, otherwise known as 3Z. He's a much more pragmatic, grounded droid who tries to keep Bomber from going off half-cocked. We'll see if that succeeds. We also have Kobe, the mouse droid MSE line, who before now was just basically carrying messages around a starship, and once freed, has enjoyed his new existence a lot more. And finally, we have a pivotal member of the group, their Gonk droid, or their power droid, however you want to present that. And his name is Gunk because he has a problem with his modulator. Instead of Gonk Gonk, it's Gonk Gonk. Sounds like he's going to fall apart at any moment. But he's still kicking, even in spite of all the attempts of organic children trying to get him to walk off cliffs and people shooting with blaster bolts for fun. Because people in Star Wars universe are horrible to droids for some reason. But we begin the adventure. The tramp freighter that they're all aboard is traveling the spaceways, the tradeways. They are getting very meager, minimal trade runs because of the prejudice against droids. So they're not generating a whole lot of profit, and their ship is not in the best condition. It would be detailed later. And they make runs very ploddingly, very slowly. They're not so much outfight anyone that comes calling, but more like hope nobody comes calling. However, their luck is turned against them as they are plodding along their prescribed route heading back to base. They're set upon a pirate ship, Neomoidians. Hail the intrepid vessel. Heave to and prepare to be boarded. There is no response, however. The ship does cut its engines. And the scanner operator runs a quick scan, no need for a roll. And he finds out that the engines are in fact powered down. She's powered down, Captain. She's ours for the taking. The captain says, like, scan them. Find out how many are aboard. How many do we have to contend with? The scanner guy punches in his commands here. And we see the Star Wars dice rolling system where you have the different colored wild die, and then you have a die for each rank. This guy's total ranks are 3, and he rolls a total of 8. However, this is a very easy task. There is no shielding on the tramp freighter. There's nothing to interfere with him finding out what's aboard. And what he finds out is that there are no life signs. Captain, there's no life signs at all. There's nothing to be found. It's it could be automated. Oh, that's good for us and terrible for their owners. Board it, men. The pirate ship, which is a moderate class ship, a crew of 8, pulls alongside and extends their boarding platform tube, which then digs into the side of the tramp freighter, clamping into the metal. Small seismic charges blow open the hatch door. However, it's sealed, so everybody doesn't get sucked out in the vacuum of space. A pirate comes aboard. He sees nothing in either direction, carrying that's a small blaster rifle. He takes the left flank. Another one comes in, takes the right flank. There's nobody here. Nobody around at all. They make some calls into the ship, and there is no response until they see red lights bop into existence at the end of the hallway in the dark. For trespassing, you are to be terminated. IG-75 takes a beat on them. He has the initiative because this is a surprise. Now he has a blast. He has a dex of 5. So he's going to grab 5 6-sideds, including the wild die. But his blaster skill is 7. So he grabs 2 more dice for this. Now that gives him a dice pool of 7 dice. So he decides he's going to take a couple shots. So instead of having a dice pool of 7 and 7, you take 1 away from each of them for each shot. So he's got a 6 and a 6. So we take away the die, and we roll twice. That is absolutely a hit. 19 for the first hit. The range is going to be, we're going to say short. Now, this would be an easy task with target numbers between 6 and 10. I'm not going to worry about the specific target number because he's rolling so many dice. It's very easy to hit. And again, yeah, he's 16. So, yeah, he hits with both blaster bolts, 1 on each. He then rolls 5 dice damage for each hit. Again, you get the wild die. You grab 4 dice. So you have a total of 5 dice. Now, damage on the first guy is ho. Well, it's 16 points plus the wild die has rolled a 6. So what you do is you roll that again, and we get a 4. So that's going to be an additional 10. So we're talking 26 damage to the first guy. Just blows him off his feet. His resistance, he has no armor, but he has a 2d strength. So we roll the wild die and the dice. And we get 9. So of the 26, he reduces by 9. That brings it down to 15. That is just shy of flat out killing him. So he is absolutely down, out, mortally wounded, blasted off his feet. He's done. Now the second one. Not as impressive. We get 11 points of damage out of the 5 die. The Neomoidian rolls his 2 dice to resist, and he gets 8. So he's stunned for a round. The IG unit, being an IG unit, promptly walks up and terminates the fool. So we're not going to worry about that. And under normal circumstances, you would say, what about the morality of ethic? But it's an IG unit. He doesn't care. So the first 2 pirates are gone. They have been eliminated. Another pirate is at the tube and he sees the IG unit turn towards him. The IG unit, instead of just opening blaster fire, he's going to roll knowledge to see if he has an idea. Now he has 3d plus 1. So he rolls 3 dice and he adds 1 to it. And he get, oh my. Yeah, 13 plus 1, 14. He absolutely has an idea. He promptly hits the close button on the tube that the pirates use to extend, and it slams shut, kind of like Mandalorian season 1, where you had that nice little doors shunk, and the pirates just kind of like, oh crap. He hotfoots it back to the pirate ship, whereupon, he seals his own door, having figured out just like, oh, I'm going to get jettisoned into space here in a second. IG calls that the boarders have been repelled. Bomber takes his cue, fires up the engines, and makes a piloting roll to disconnect from this umbilical with prejudice. Now he has space transports of 5D. So he grabs his 5 dice and he rolls 15 total, which puts him into the moderate difficulty. He actually pulls away without any significant structural damage to the ship. So they break apart, little bits of metal go floating off into space, and here's the pirate ship with its gangplank extended, just kind of feeling rather foolish as the ship begins to take off. The pirates fire up their weapons and engines. Heave to, or you'll be boarded. Or blasted, I should say. Arr, I'm getting confused. He moves into an attack position, retracting the gangplank. Now, he is not as good a pilot as Balmer. So Balmer is going to fly. He's going to roll his space transports, and he's going to set the difficulty for this guy to get into a firing position on him. This is basically a dogfight. The space transport is moving slower. However, the pirate ship has to be careful not to blow them out of the sky. Bomber sets the difficulty at 20, DC 20. The Neomoidian pilot only has 3 dice to roll, so he's probably not going to be able to get into a good firing position. Yeah, he rolls only a 10, half that DC, so no. So as bombers taking some evasive action, some unconventional maneuvers, the Neomoidians trying to get in a position to blast either, its engines or something to disable it, and he simply cannot do that. Captain, I don't have a good firing position. If I shoot, I may blow the ship up. Well, we don't want that. Then it'd be entirely pointless that we attack the ship to begin with. Bomber continues to evade. While, let's see here. 3Z is going to attempt to plot them a course, light speed, to get them out of the situation. Now, it'll obviously take them off the beaten path from where they were going, as they were a sublight engine, so they're very close to their destination. But he's like, hey, which is droid, and it translates. It's like, hey, we can do a mini jump over here and then mini jump back to a position of safety. Bomber's just like, which translates to just freaking do it already. So, astrogation roll of 12. That is under moderate difficulty. 3Z plots a course to the nearest light speed jump point just to get them there and then jump back after, they figure the pirates have lost interest and moved on. He says since it was a moderate success, it's not going to be an immediate jump. There's going to be a delay. We're going to say it's a delay of 1 round, not bad. So he's like, I need a minute to program it. So we're going to have another round of rolls where Bomber at the controls is doing some maneuvers still. We are talking 19 difficulty for the Neomoidian pilot to get into a firing position. He's going to roll the pirate is rolling. Oh, he rolls a 6 on the wild die. Complication. Or, well, for the good guys anyway. So the 14 plus another 6. So that's a 20. He's beaten the difficulty and he keeps rolling because he rolled another 6. He rolls a 3. So we're talking 23. He shoots past the DC. He is in a firing position. He immediately fires upon the engines of the ship using his starship gunnery, which is an 8. Since it's being dodged, we're going to say it is medium range. So it would normally be an 11 to 15. However, Bomber is actively dodging, so I'm inclined to raise the difficulty 1 rank and say that he needs at least a 16 to hit. He only rolled a 8. So red blaster bolts track across space as the old hunker space transport narrowly dodges being taken out. The next round, the astrogation calculations are complete. They punch it light speed. Ah, Captain, they went to light speed. Did you run a scan? No, Captain. I didn't think they would jump to light speed. Idiot. So that concludes the pirates section, and our buddies narrowly escape. Cheers go around the space transport. Well, I mean, in droid speak. As Ellie congratulates both Bomber for his heroic piloting, for 3Z for astrogating them out of there as quick as droid possible, not human possible, and IG for battling off the pirate borders and giving them a chance to escape. Yay, the good guys won. I'm not going to worry about detailing the awards for this right now. We're going to keep the action rolling. Our heroic crew light speeds back into the orbit of the, we're going to say it's a derelict, an old space station built on a floating rock that has been taken over by, we're going to say, black market traders, privateers, all that kind of stuff. Not the pirates that came after them just yet, but they may end up on this rock. We'll see. But they end up back at home base where they report into their contact. And his name is Bors Carew. He is a shady dealer, a merchant in all things questionable and in the dark. And Boris is actually kind of surprised to see them. And it's like, oh, welcome back. I didn't exactly expect you to return. And it's just like, coming up in her 3PO kind of way. It's like, of course we would return. We were contracted. Boris details, gets the offloading started of their cargo, and pays them a meager amount, which will be set at a later date, and presents them with a unique opportunity. There is a individual that needs a crate run, and needs a crate run to a very specific set of coordinates. This is not a drop planet that they are familiar with. It's someplace on the far outer rim, and definitely outside the realms of patrolled space. So there is obviously even just the barest implication of danger, high danger, because they're going into the outer rim. However, this is a lucrative contract. The Boers tells them that this person is obviously desperate. They are willing to pay exorbitant amounts, including insurance and other fees, which we'll get into with the freighter section in part two of this. This is an intro. We're just kind of establishing the characters and getting things going, and so naturally, the droid crew, facing the prejudice of an organic galaxy, knows that their options are limited when it comes to what cargoes they can they can pick and choose from. So offered with this chance to make a lot of money, they're just kind of like, what? These credits could not only help us, but could help other droids as well. So they're just like, we'll take the danger. We'll be okay with that. So Boris gets the offload of the current cargo. He gets the single crate loaded onto their ship as quickly as possible. And the droid crew returns to their ship and discusses things. And Ellie details to the other droids, this is the task we have been tasked with. IG obviously sees that there is something amiss here. There's definitely something that would raise the hackles on an organic, as he says. So he recommends extreme caution, even though he recognizes the situation they're in and they can't exactly refuse a contract, especially one as lucrative as this. Bomber does not care. Bomber just wants to fly. 3Z is with IG. He smells, he's an older droid. He's one of those, an R4 is a cone kind of guy. He's been around a while. He's got some dents, some scratches, some rusting, and he's just like, which is droid for, this smells bad. This smells like it's going to go sideways. We need to be on our bolts with this. And Mouse and Gunky are, well, Gunky, I should say. Like Kobe and Gunky are both kind of tentative, fearful little droids, and they're not really sure if they want to go through with this, but they'll support their friends. They'll be there for their friends if there's danger to be faced. So the droid crew is in agreement. Let's take on the cargo. Let's see what happens. And maybe with the credits they get, they can patch up their ship a little bit. Meanwhile, as Boris is loading the cargo and watching them fly off, one of his assistants says, you know, tells him, it's just like, this is a really lucrative contract. Why would you offer to these droids? You're taking money out of Organic's hands. And Boris is just like, I've been in this business long enough to know when the contract is gonna go south. This is gonna go south. Mark my words. And why not sell the droids up the river for it to happen? Anyway, let me know when they've been blasted apart. And he's gonna go off to his normal money grubbing little procedures. So there we have it. This is the intro, the first adventure, session 0 of the Star Wars droid crew as they go out into the galaxy and pursue their fame and fortune, or infamy and misfortune, as we'll see in the next adventure. Now, of course, this is basically a teaser to see, what kind of, are people interested in this? Are people going to watch this? And, I've had at least one person say like, oh, hey, I can't wait to see this. So this is just to whet the appetite. Next week we're going to have a full-fledged adventure. This adventure is going about just shy of a half hour. I imagine next week is probably going to go the full half hour, maybe longer, so we'll see. So be prepared for that. Have a drink of your choice ready for when you sit down to enjoy my prattling on in my amateurish voice acting, if you can call it that. But I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed the crew, the droid crew and their decrepit, dilapidated starship, which will be much more detailed in the next adventure. And we shall see what kind of misfortunes befall them. I already have an idea where it's going to go, so we'll see. We'll see. But also, I wanted to show that, this system was never specifically intended for solo play, but as you can see, you can solo play it just fine. The most important thing is what I always talk about, the suspension of knowledge. What do these characters know? What do these characters know? What do these characters want? What do these characters want? And have them behave in those fashions. I believe the modern take is to have simulators and such. That's something definitely I would like to get into. And once I learn more about them, I just started learning about them in the past month or two. So I don't know how they work or where they fit into the solo play. So give me a little time to work those in. I'm sure they will be worked in at a later date here. But yeah, there's Star Wars West End Games solo play, and I hope it helped. I would love to get another camera to show my dice rolls so you guys can see what I'm rolling. But I hope this explained it just a little bit better. I mean, basically, you've got your target numbers, and they go on scales of basically 5, 5, 10, 15, 20, and you roll nothing but six sided and you got your wild die. And I was glad to see that we had an instance where the wild die was rolling crazy because that does tend to happen in one of these West End game sessions and it just makes for fun. It's a lot of fun. So anyway, I hope I entertained you for a little half hour and put a smile on your face if I did. Please give me a like. YouTube loves it when you smash the like button, and lets me know that you're enjoying this content and I should keep making more content like this. I love doing this. So I will see you here in a week for some more solo play Sunday for a much more robust adventure. So definitely be ready for a more longer format one for that, I'm assuming, unless something weird happens. So but thank you for sticking in with me for as long as you have. Thank you for everybody who's been clicking on the views. I've been getting tons of views on all my stuff. It's awesome. Thank you all for sharing your time. Thank you to all the new subscribers and all my old subscribers and everybody that's joining me on this geek journey. I hope I entertain you all. But anyway, that's it for this solo play Sunday, and I will catch you all probably for Tabletop Tuesday is the next video, unless I do something else in the meantime. So definitely, like and subscribe and hit the bell icon, let you know when I put out another video, which is very often. So I will see you all in the next one. Have a good one.